Hi Wei Li, I'm Wen Tong. I'm a parent of two.
Hi Wontong, it's very nice to meet you today.
So schools are reopening next week, and at the current moment, there are still so many cases of the virus being reported. As parents, we are worried. Why do we have to open schools right now?
Well, the community infections have actually come down in the over time, and in the last week, it's actually been single digit. We know that in the guest worker dorms, there are still infections, and that's because Singapore is doing rigorous testing. But they've been able to contain it away from the community, and so it doesn't spread into the community. So now we've got to figure out whether we can keep our students safe if they come to school. So we're going to put in a lot more safe management measures in order to do that, and we believe we'll be able to. One of the important things to note that while we carried out full home-based learning, it doesn't replace physical school. We all know that students prefer to be in school and teachers prefer to be in school because then they will get their queries answered immediately. They will get that encouragement, the push from the teachers. They will also get that learning with their friends, with their peers, which is very important. And we know that for younger students, for students that have got fewer resources at home or less support at home, actually school becomes even more important. So if they are prolonged absence from school, it actually hurts them. It's detrimental for their growth and development.
What kind of measures will schools be taking to protect our students compared to before the circuit breaker, for example?
Well, there are going to be quite a number of safe management measures that we're going to put in place. We're going to ring fence our schools, which means that we'll try to keep the virus out as much as we can. You know about the daily temperature taking. We're going to continue that. We're also going to do visual screening to check whether our students are ill, or maybe throughout the day, maybe if they get ill, we will also ask them to go home. So that screening will be very important to keep our students safe. But we're going beyond that. We're not just looking whether our students are ill. We want to see whether they have been in close contact with someone who is a confirmed case. So we draw another ring around. So if they have been, we ask them, please stay at home and help the rest. We are also drawing yet another ring. So if there are household members of our students and staff who might be exposed to the virus, maybe they are on home quarantine order or they're on stay home notice, household members, then we think that may be a bit more risk to our students and staff. So we ask them, please stay at home too. We're going to make sure that our students have very good personal hygiene, which means that our teachers are going to remind them, for example, to wash their hands. So the primary schoolers, they need a lot of habituation to do that. When they arrive in school, get them to wash their hands. Before they go for the canteen break, wash their hands. Before they go for their snack break, they also wash their hands with soap and water. After wiping down the tables, they will also wash their hands. So at least 4 times. We are going to make sure that they're in exam style sitting. We are going to fix where they sit. So they're going to be with their class. Very little intermingling outside the class. So we're going to minimize it. They keep to their class when they study. They keep to the class when they go to the canteen. They keep to the class even when they play for the primary school kids. So in that way, we are able to cocoon them in these little blocks and keep them safe. I know parents are quite worried because our schools are quite big and there can be some schools that have got a lot of students. So we're going to make sure that there are some levels always who are away from school. They'll be doing their home-based learning. So in that way, our schools will never be full. We're going to stagger the recesses. So staggering arrivals, staggering dismissal. That would be very important for us.
So now we're coming off the back of several weeks of HBL. Some enjoyed it, some found HBL challenging, others may have already forgotten what they've learned during those weeks. So how will teachers be checking on students' progress and helping them to catch up?
During full home-based learning, the teachers were actually evaluating the students' learning all the time. They do that by checking, asking questions, seeing how the students answer, also the homework that they submit, the assignments that they submit. So for those students who may have fallen behind, or for some of the graduating students, the teachers will pull them out for separate classes to help them catch up. But for the rest of the class, the teachers will use the rest of the curriculum time for the whole year to gradually catch up if there are gaps. And we do this in a few ways. One is because we have removed the mid-year exam, so there's actually more teaching time. So we can do that. For the graduating classes, we will remove what we call the common last topic. So we're not going to test the full sweep of the syllabus. Remove one last topic from the exam, so there will be enough time to be able to cover the syllabus. Even for the school exam, the schools can do this, and they can take over next year to catch up. So that's not going to be too much of an issue. The students won't be under pressure to compress the curriculum, and the teachers also. The exam board will be very conscious of the fact that this year is a special year. So where there is a need, they will give special consideration. So for example, if the student happens to be on leave of absence during that period of time and they couldn't sit for one paper or a few papers, there will be special consideration given. And the exam board also knows the situation that all the students are going through. Actually, everybody's in the same boat. So when we remove certain questions, they would use a different way to be able to evaluate, but still ensure that it is fair and that it is reliable.
For those taking PSLE and other national exams, how will they be supported to make sure that they can catch up and this doesn't affect their results? Will there be extra classes for them?
I think it's very natural for those parents of graduating students to be a little bit worried, and also for the students. So we're going to take extra care with them. So for example, during this mid-year holidays, we're allowing them to come back, we're inviting them to come back in small groups, in safe groups, so that they can catch up with a couple of things. One is, if they've fallen back, we want to make sure that we have some extra lessons to support them. The teachers know where they are. Second, if they are doing any coursework, we want them to be able to make up that time that they have lost during the home-based learning. And three, if they have things like practicals, hands-on, they need the facilities, the equipment in the school, we also get them back to be able to do that. So this period of time is a tough situation for Singapore. It's a tough situation for schools and for families. We know that it's been hard trying to work as well as to have young children doing home-based learning. So we're going to come out of this learning new things. Adversity doesn't necessarily produce despondency. Adversity can produce tenacity. Adversity can also produce audacity. Because we have found new ways of learning, we have surprised even ourselves. The students have surprised themselves. I think we need to give our students a bit more credit for how independent they have become, how self-directed they've become in learning. And we're very, very happy to see that they have grown so much. For us educators, teaching our students, teaching your children is more than a responsibility. For us, it is a mission, it's a life purpose. And during this period of time, we want to make sure that we can teach so that they learn. We're also going to make sure to do our very best to ensure that they are safe. Because when our students hurt, we also hurt. So we will do our very best for them. So we look forward to welcoming all our students back in school. We miss you and we want you back, learning and safe.